Welcome to Sumner School Business Immigration Basics. In this video, we are talking about the key differences between the recruitment process for PERM labor certifications and for other open positions, just real life recruiting that a company might have. There are several key differences, and in this brief discussion of the differences, we'll be basing our analysis on the framework of who, what, when, why, and where. So we're going to start with why. Why is this process done? In the PERM recruitment process, or the PERM world rather, the reason the employer has to go through the series of recruitment steps is to show that no U.S. worker meets the minimum qualifications for the position and is otherwise willing or available for the position. Whereas in the real world, if you have an open position, you in general are looking for the best qualified candidate, and you base that analysis on a number of factors that you couldn't consider in the PERM process. For example, you might consider who was the best qualified. That makes sense. Who was a cultural fit, the best cultural fit. But you cannot take those factors into consideration in the PERM labor certification context. Next, the what and the where. The content of the ads in the PERM labor certification context have to be very, very specific and meet the specific regulatory requirements for the PERM labor certification process. So for example, the ads have to include the job title, the job site location, the name of the employer. In 19 years of practice, I've never been able to reuse ads that an employer has given, even for recruitment that was done recently. They just don't meet the regulatory requirements. In addition, the where is very different. The where in real life for advertising could be any number of places. You could do it online, you could do it informally, you could do it through networking. With the PERM labor certification context, the advertisements or the notices have to be put in very specific places. So it has to be done, for example, you have to place a job order on the state work site, the state workforce agency's website rather. You have to place 2 Sunday newspaper ads in the actual physical Sunday newspaper. I don't know of any employers who actually still do that. So the process is very different, and again, has to meet the regulatory requirements. The who actually implements these recruitment steps could be different. In the PERM labor certification context, a lot of times our clients will have a point of contact for the PERM process. That's typically an HR person. For a small company, it might be the owner themselves, but that person or team might be different in the PERM process, especially for a larger employer, than it is for everyday recruiting. So larger employers sometimes have a recruiting team who implements the process. So if that's the case, if it's 2 different points of contact or 2 different people, then there needs to be some communication between those 2 teams to make sure that the recruiting team knows what's going on, why these ads are being placed, why they're being done that way. In addition, the immigration law professionals, us, have the responsibility of communicating with the employer, the point of contact, to make sure that the process is done at least as much as possible the way that they typically do, or in a way that works at least for their company. There are different options, different recruitment steps that are available. So it's important to have that clear line of communication and make sure that any parties that typically would be involved in the recruitment process at least know what's going on. Whether they're involved or not, they at least know what's going on, and they know what the standards are, what exactly is required, and what the standards are in terms of rejecting potential applicants. Which brings us to our next video, but we didn't talk about when. When there are specific timeframes for the PERM recruitment process. So for example, and it gets complicated, I don't want to get into the weeds here, but for example, the recruitment, all of the advertising that is done cannot be more than 180 days old. So if you start a recruitment process, if you have a step maybe that you completed more than 180 days ago, that can't be used as part of the process. It has to be less than 180 days old. Some of the recruitment has to be up for a certain period of time, and then you have to wait a certain period of time. In general, you have to wait at least 30 days before the end of the recruitment before you file the application. There is an exception for that, but know that there are a lot of specific deadlines and timeframes involved. Again, dictated by regulation for the PERM process, whereas that's typically not the case for an everyday recruitment process. It may be that a company typically posts for X period of time, but if they find the right candidate sooner than that, then they may abort the mission. They may take down the posting. So there may be more flexibility there than there is in the PERM process. In our next video, we will be talking about how to handle the receiving applications or resumes and next steps after that. My name is Emily Sumner with Sumner Immigration Law. If you found this video helpful, I hope that you will share it with a friend and subscribe to this particular platform so that you don't miss our next episode. Otherwise, I'm Emily Sumner with Sumner Immigration Law. We assist employment-based and family-based clients from around the United States and around the world, and we look forward to helping you. Until next time, I'm Emily Sumner.